So say I'm thinking about adding a deck to my home.
Mm-hmm.
What does the process look like for that, and what type of deck should I consider?
So great question. The first thing you want to consider is what is your intended use of the deck? Do you have a large family? Do you host parties? Is it just typically you and a significant other? So we need to know what size deck we need to build. So that's the first consideration. The second consideration, and this is equally as important, is where can we build? So unless you've got 10 acres in your backyard, you're going to have property lines within a reasonable proximity of your place. There's also going to be certain restrictions in certain areas about where you can build and how far out you can build. So between design and what you're looking to do and where you can actually build, I think are the two most important considerations you can have when looking at a deck. Next down the line would be considering things like the materials you want to use. So obviously conventional lumber decks where you've got wood rails and wood planks are kind of what's the most common item out there. These items over time will require maintenance. There are maintenance-free products available now. So things like composite wood decking, vinyl railing, these are all great ways to get a deck but not have to worry about maintaining it aside from the periodic cleaning. The process of installing a deck is relatively simple. Once you get through the construction phase, once you get through the design phase, you have to actually work on getting the structure built. So the first thing we do is expose the area where we're going to tie the deck into the house. Usually that involves pulling back a little bit of siding on the house, not a big deal. We have to pour the footers for the concrete, the structure upon which your deck is now going to sit. And then you're looking at basically the lumber construction from ground up. Certain things to consider are going to be whether you're going to want stairway access to the backyard, how wide do we want those stairs. Another thing to consider is what we want to do with the skirt of the deck. Now, not a skirt like you'd wear, but what I'm talking about is the underside of the deck. So when you're looking at the deck from the side, do we just want to have that open area underneath there, or do we want to cover that up somehow? So back in the day, there weren't a whole lot of options, but today we've got a whole host of options for how to really beautify the side of a deck. One of my favorites way is by using composite white planking to do a shiplap appearance. Great way to dress up the side of a deck to where you don't see the underside, but still allow some breathability through the air to be able to pass underneath your deck. Another great way, lattice work. So, and I talk about sometimes the big diamonds, they've got square lattice, smaller triangle lattice. These are great ways to really enhance the way your deck looks. So where it'll look good, not just from a functionality standpoint, but your neighbors will be jealous as well. One of the decks that stands out in particular for me was a project we did in West Ocean City about 3 years ago. So I met with a couple, they had just moved into the community, but the house is already about 20 years old. They did not have the space to build into the back of their house, but they definitely wanted to have that outside seating area. So the only choice was the front of the property. The only issue was there was a driveway there that led up to the front of the house, and they did not have that much real estate between the front of their house and the road. So we had to come up with something that was going to be a functional area for them that would work space-wise, but also give them cover in inclement weather. So what we did was we came up with a linear porch design. It was about 8 feet from the house, but spanned nearly the entire width of the front of the home. Put a gable roof on the house to where we tied it into the existing shingles, put some beautiful white scallop vinyl siding on the top of the gable, and a beautiful railing system went across the front. And this was one of the houses we actually did the shiplap planking on the base of the skirt. Completely changed the way the front of the house looked, but the most important feature for me was the fact that these clients had that space that they had wanted so badly. It gave them everything they wanted, a nice coffee table, a few nice chairs, and they were able to sit out there and enjoy their new home.